The Ableton Push 2 is a fully featured performance and production controller for Ableton Live. It has a large full-colour display, 11 multifunction rotary encoders, 64 RGB pressure and velocity sensitive pads, and an array of high-quality, durable buttons for editing and performing music within Live. Push allows you to control almost every aspect of Ableton performance, clip creation, sound design, and effects tweaking without needing to touch the keyboard and mouse. The best way to demonstrate the power of this amazing device is to get straight into using it, so we're going to create a basic session with drums, bass, and a sampled loop, all without touching the computer. I have a new empty Ableton Live session open, and I'm going to use the browser on the Push to add an instrument. To get to the browser, simply press the Browse button near the top right-hand side of the device. You can then use the encoders to scroll through the menus and find the sounds, instruments, and effects. I'm going to start by finding a 909 by navigating to the drums section and then scrolling through the kits until I found what I like. You'll notice that you'll hear the previews of the sounds as you scroll through them, and then you can click the load button once you've found the sounds that you like. Once the kit is loaded, the drums will be available on the pads at the bottom left-hand side of the device. These are velocity sensitive, and the pads at the top are a sequencer. If I click the kick drum and start drawing in some notes, a kick pattern will start playing. We have a 4/4 pattern here, and I'm just going to add a snare drum on top. Selecting the snare drum, and then drawing in a sequence into the steps at the top. I'm also going to add a closed hi-hat. There's multiple ways of doing this. You can just play it in, pressing the record button, or you can use the note repeat function to allow you to play a quantized and solid loop, using the dividers on the right-hand side of the device to change the speed of the playback. Once you've found a pattern that you like, you can press the record button and just play the pattern. Once you have a pattern you're happy with, press the record button and it will start playing back. I'm going to go to the mixer and turn down the volume of the kit because it's a little bit loud at the moment. And then I'm going to select the next track and we're going to start finding a bass line. I'm going to press Browse, scroll into the sound section of the menu and go to bass. Once again, the sounds will preview as you scroll through the list, and I'm going to scroll through until we find a sound that we like. Once you've found the sound that you like, press the load button and the pads at the bottom of the device will become playable. The coloured notes are octaves, and the white notes are in key. You can change the keys and scales by pressing the scale button on the right-hand side of the device. You can use the rotary encoders to change which scale is being played. And you can use the buttons to change the root note. If I press record, I can record in a sequence. Now the sequence is looping, I can press the quantize button to quantize the notes. And if I want to tweak this sound, I can press the device button at the top right hand side, and the screen will show the most used parameters on the synth. If I want to record some of the automation of these knobs, I can press the automation button, and this will record the automation into the loop. Pressing the record button once again will mean that the loop plays back. I'm just going to turn it down a little bit in the mixer, and balance it with the drums. Next we're going to add a drum loop. So I'm going to add a track, and we're going to use the simpler instrument to import some drums. I'm going to browse to the instrument section in the menu, and then find simpler in the list. Once I've found it, I'm going to press load, and you'll notice that once it's loaded it says press browse to add a sample. I'm going to press browse once again, and I'm going to navigate to my user files where I've created a folder called the DJ shop. In there I have a drum loop. I'm going to find it, and press load, and it will load into the sampler. In its current traditional sampler mode, it will play back the sample up and down the keyboard at higher and lower pitches, changing the pitch and the tempo of the loop. If I want to change this behaviour and be able to trigger single drums from the loop, I'm going to change the mode to slicing. The slicing mode will automatically detect transients in the loop and then split it amongst the pads. Increasing or decreasing the sensitivity knob will change the amount of slices that Ableton performs on the loop. Then each pad will be assigned to a different slice in the loop. I'm going to go for somewhere around here. So I've got a nice selection of drums. These are all directly playable on the pads, but if we want to go a step further and sequence them, I'm going to press the Convert button and convert the loop to a drum rack. This will now slice the samples into individual parts of a drum rack and allow me to sequence them using the standard step sequencer that we were using earlier. Anytime that I click on a pad, that drum will be shown in the display at the top, allowing me to make fine tuning to the settings of that slice. I can change the start, end points, fade in and out, and even transpose them. And now I'm going to use the note repeat function to record in a rhythm on this loop. I'm going to turn it up in the mix a little bit so I can hear it. And then I'm going to press the record button to record in a pattern using the note repeater. Now that we've recorded this part, I want to use a compressor to gently ease off some of the transients in this loop. I'm going to press the Add Device button, and then scroll to Audio Effects, and then scroll down to the compressor. Once loaded, the compressor gives us a detailed view of everything that's happening in the audio. We can see the transients and the threshold. I'm going to pull the threshold down until it starts tickling the very tops of these transients, and then I'm going to tweak some of the settings to even out the levels of the drums. You can see the amount of gain reduction on the white graph at the top of the screen. As this compressor is making up for the gain reduction, I'm just going to turn down the output gain to compensate. We now have a far more leveled loop, and I'm going to add an EQ to slightly tweak the sound of the drums a little bit further. I'm going to go to the audio effects in the browser and find EQ8, load it up, and we'll see that we have a full spectrum in the graph, and we can tweak and edit the EQ using the knobs at the top. I'm just going to find band 4, which is the high end, and increase it to add some shine to the loop, and then I'm going to scroll down to band 1 and add a little bit of low end. This has made it a little bit loud, so I'm going to turn it down in the mixer and balance it out with the drums. And now I'm going to hit the master button and add an EQ on the master output. I'm going to press Add Device, scroll down to Audio Effects and find the EQ8. And then I'm going to tweak it to add some high end and some low end. I'm going to find band 4 and increase the treble. And then use the low band to emphasize the low end to get a bit of thump going on in the kick drum and the bass. As you can see, the spectrum analyzer on the EQ8 is very reactive, and it's easy to see all of the elements of the mix and tweak to compensate or add to them. And if I want to see which clips are playing in my session, I can simply press the Session button on the push and it will show me the 3 clips that we have created. That's it for now on our walkthrough of the Ableton Push 2. We'll be doing some more advanced tutorials soon. Many thanks for watching, and we hope you've enjoyed it.